So I finished a little part of what I'm saying about, scams where people come and lure you. This is when I say beware of banksters. It's when people whom you trust. And this is a big battle that we're fighting with the RBI. And I think this word banksters is coined by an ex-banker. As you know, Ravi Subramaniam is writing a series of books on banks. And I think it's a wonderful coinage because we keep saying that if you don't trust your bank, who will you trust? Right? I mean, I'm putting my money there. It's not under my pillow. So if your banker, when you go to deposit your money or withdraw it, can actually catch you and persuade you. Persuade is, I'm using it loosely as a mild synonym for absolute fraud and mis-selling. Persuades you to take out your money from your FD and put it in instruments that are going to cause you a loss. That is something I think has to be stopped immediately. But even when we met the RBI governor last week, his talk was that will the pendulum swing from one end to another, where people will take advantage of the fact that they have made silly mistakes and blame the bank. And we said the pendulum hasn't moved. It's not in the middle. It's at one end. So don't worry about it swinging to the other side. We just have to get into a situation where a bank cannot mis-sell products to us. So before I get into that, let me start with safety of banks. Luckily, India is not a country where you're very worried about whether your bank deposit will be safe, because in spite of the huge non-performing assets, in spite of the fact that bank unions are writing to the government saying that banks will collapse under the burden of bad loans, still they are Sarkari banks. So if they go down, it means the country is going down. Okay, but as long as we still have a government in place, they'll be printing money, so your basic money will be safe in a nationalized bank. I don't think there's anything to worry about. Large private banks also, by and large, I think there's nothing to worry about. I keep saying, if you look at the fact that Global Trust Bank wasn't even such a large bank in 2000, but even that was bailed out. So as a policy, as long as this government had some money, and they were in the last 5 years running it down very rapidly, but the policy is we do not allow banks to fail. This applies to scheduled commercial banks, private banks. Foreign banks, a different cup of tea. What happens abroad, they get taken over, it's different. But by and large, people who are putting money in foreign banks are people who have a lot more money. Okay, I would say put your money in large private banks, in nationalized banks. You don't have to worry every day about whether the bank is going to vanish. Cooperative banks, different cup of tea altogether. They are under dual regulation, and neither of them regulates them properly, neither RBI nor the Department of Cooperatives. So in this case, well after the net worth is fully eroded, more than a year later, they finally deign to say that that bank will be closed. Okay, which means that if you have a deposit there, you are in limbo. You neither get your money back, nor is the bank declared closed for much longer. And then when that happens, just 1 lakh is insured. And in the last 10 years, we've seen some NGOs demand that you need protection for all deposits. And we as in Moneylife have been fighting it because we're saying it's not required. If you protect 100% of the deposits, it will only allow political scamsters who run these cooperative banks to make money. Okay, because you get your money back, then instead of just 1 lakh, you'll get more. It allows you and me to be careless. We will keep more money in cooperative banks, and the insurance is paid by the entire banking sector. So in the last 20 years, there hasn't been a single incident where any large bank, nationalized bank or foreign bank has ever had to close down and had to avail of this insurance where 1 lakh is paid. It is only cooperative banks, and at least one a month goes bust. So I tell people that if it's your hard-earned money, don't keep more than 1 lakh in a cooperative bank. And even the 1 lakh that you keep should not be money that you will require in an emergency. If it is the only savings that you have, please find a better bank. Don't keep it in cooperative banks.